a little bit of value work. I think I was thinking I wanted to do this one. Maybe I'll do both of them, but for this example, I'm just going to choose this photo to work with for value. I really like it, and there's a lot of sort of separate areas of different values, so we're going to see how it goes. I'm going to make 4 different versions, a low key, a high key, a low contrast, and a high contrast, so that means I need to duplicate this. To duplicate, you can go to Image, duplicate one photo, or you can simply press Command D. I'm going to make 4 copies. So I'm going to start with contrast. This is easiest to do in black and white. I want you to do it in black and white so that you can get the idea more easily. So we're going to go to Edit, and let's see, image. So I am clicking black and white so that I can work with the black and white image. I'm not going to need those black and white filters though, or the color filters. Those are not going to do really anything. For our value situation, we want to do our light stuff. So you could just drag the dragger and see what happens. Now that just went to high key, high contrast. And over here, it goes to low key. Might still call that pretty high contrast. But I want you guys to do a little bit of personalization here. So fool around a little bit. Brilliance, as I bring it up, it makes it a little more high key. When I bring it down, it makes it a little more low key. Exposure up is going to make it more high key. Low is going to make it more low key. So exposure is, how much light is hitting the film. A perfect exposure would be the perfect amount of light. A high exposure would be too much light. Low exposure, not enough light. That's going to bring all the values down. Highlights, this is how bright do you want your highlights to be. If you pull it up, it's going to make them super bright. If you pull them down, it's going to make them less bright. And you can see up here in the sky, it doesn't necessarily make a huge difference in the grass, but as I'm pulling that in the sky, when I do the highlights all the way up, we lose all this information about the clouds. So maybe on my high contrast one, that's fine, but maybe I want to see those clouds. So that's something to notice. Shadows, do we want our shadows to be light, which would make it more high key, or dark, which is going to be more low key, and here it's forcing us into some high contrast. So if I did the highlights all the way bright and the lowlights all the way dark, we're getting a much higher contrast there. Brightness, as you can imagine. So no, I'm not liking this very much at all. We're pumping up the contrast here, which means we're making the lights lighter and the darks darker. And then the black point is like at where do things start becoming black? So down at the bottom, it means barely anything is actually black, and as we go up, more stuff is black. So that's what all those adjustments mean. This first one, I forget what I even said I was going to do. Did I say high contrast? Sure, we'll start with high contrast. So I know one way to make high contrast is to pull down the shadows and pull up the light, but I really don't like the way that makes my picture look. So I'm going to pull my exposure up a little, my brilliance up, and I'm going to make my shadows darker. Okay, yes, it's getting a little more contrasty. Ooh, I sort of am liking this. Brightness. No, I don't like that very much. But this now is starting to get less contrasty. Oh. I'm going to leave the brightness there. And I don't really like the way that looks when I bump the contrast way up. So maybe if I make the black point a little higher. Yeah. So here we have a very high contrast image. The people are super dark. The trees are pretty dark. We don't have a lot of in-between grays. So I'm going to save this one. That's going to be my high contrast. Okay, now I'm going to do a low contrast. So here, for low contrast, remember, means a bunch of grays in between dark and light. So I'm going to click black and white again. And this is already low contrast, but I'm just going to see what else I can do. I know I have these clouds back here that I can maybe work with. So maybe if I pull up the highlights a little bit, and we're getting a little bit more central here. Brightness. I'm pulling my contrast down. So that's the easiest way to do it, is just pull the contrast down. That's pretty blah, but I guess in general, low contrast images are sort of blah. I'm not a huge fan of low contrast. Okay, I like how that's looking. Maybe I'm going to pull my brightness down a little bit. All right, that's not horrible. So here's a high contrast and here's a low contrast. And now I want to do a high key, which means bright. So as you can imagine, brilliance, I can bring brilliance up. Oh wait, shoot, I want to make this black and white. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Exposure, woo! I could bring the exposure all the way up. That's a little, well, let's see. Let's bring our highlights all the way up. Bring our shadows all the way up. That's way too high key. So we're going to bring our shadows back down. Brightness all the way up. I'm going to take the brilliance down a little bit. I really want to be able to see the, ooh, I like the way this looks. That might be a good high contrast. Okay, I'm changing my mind. And don't forget, things can be both high contrast and high key. Yeah, I'm digging that a lot. This is still high key, so if I blur my eyes, this is mostly light, but it is also high contrast. Let's see what our black point is. New, we'll pull the black point down a little bit. And I'm going to bump this up a little bit. Ooh, yeah, I am digging that one. New. And then low key is going to be darker. So we want to have our shadows. Oh, wait. Got to make it black and white, Sarah. That's weird. This doesn't feel like it's adjusting. Well, I guess we're going to stop there. Oh no, we'll do this one we want low key. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, so to make this low key, we want to make it black and white. And maybe we'll bring down our exposure a little bit. I still want a lot of contrast though, so, ooh, yeah, I like that. And the highlights we're going to bring down. Maybe that's going to be a little bit too. Shadows we can bring up. There we go. Yeah, that's a little better. I still want to be able to see them right there. Oh no, we don't want that. Black point. Maybe if we put the black point a little lower. Put the black point lower. This one is This one's a little difficult because the picture itself is so light. I'm trying to see the, well, let's see what I can do here. So I'm basically just messing with this, you guys. Like, I'm just sort of pulling stuff around to see what happens, what we like. I actually like that one a lot. So look at that. Now I have all four. I have my high key, my low key, my high contrast, and my low contrast.